If you're a woman with options, if you're a high value woman, if you're a woman who has no problem at all attracting guys and you're having analysis paralysis, right? You're having that Netflix experience. And I don't know if this happens to you, but when I'm on Netflix, I get analysis paralysis. There's just too many options. I end up scrolling way more than watching, right? I'll get on the Netflix at 2 in the morning and scroll titles for about 45 minutes, thinking I'm about to start a movie, and I'll scroll it until I get sleepy and then I'll just fall asleep, cut the TV off, never pick anything. I've noticed a lot of really beautiful women or really alluring, charming women who have some attractive quality that other men are seeing, or a lot of men are seeing. Um, they often have this analysis paralysis where they think, oh my God, there's so many guys in my inbox. There's so many guys that like me. Uh, I don't know. They ain't none of them probably serious, right? Because you see the creeps here or there, and it just kind of scares you away. I know a lot of women, 10, 12 guys in their DMs, and they're not answering DMs. They don't take anybody serious, but then they book a call with me talking about, I can't find a man, I want love. And I'm like, love is in your inbox. Why aren't you checking the messages? Why aren't you answering these people? The idea that you have these options and somehow or another that makes it way more stressful is real. And so it's a good problem to have more options and less options. But for you, for those of you who do have more options, I do want to give you a little bit of help. Of all the men in your DMs, of all the men in your inbox, I want to help you figure out who you should be taking seriously. Of the men you're going on multiple dates with, of the men who are giving you effort, of the men you've made connection with and conversation with, I want to make sure that you're considering the right ones out of that bunch. Let's be real. Most people are not photogenic, and undoctored pictures almost never do anyone justice. I've had about 300 clients tell me that somebody either looked better in person based on their pictures and that their pictures didn't do them justice, or they looked way more raggedy than they expected them to look based on the profile pictures. A lot of people wish that they could have spoken to a person on a video or heard their voice before swiping in the wrong direction. People often complain about how much time was wasted misjudging attraction based on pictures and weak ass inbox messages alone. Hell, at the very least, I know many of you are tired of trading dried up pleasantries until you both grow too bored to respond to one another. Matter of fact, put a 1 in the comment section if you've ever thought to yourself, I have shit to do, and just block somebody for wasting your time. And I know I can't be the only person who showed up to a date after looking at some attractive pictures and thought, damn, they got me. I was mistaken. Hell, I've been catfished 3 times, so I know how rough it can be. For years as a life and dating coach, I've suggested that my clients do preliminary video dates before they meet people in person. They find it awkward to set up or ask for, so they usually don't do it out of anxiety. But on our app, it's the only way to connect to somebody after you match with them or like them. There's no need to be nervous or anxious. It's not awkward. It's just the way things are, which protects you from getting catfished or placing yourself in danger to meet a stranger you've never seen or spoken to. It facilitates real people having real conversations to see if there's a real connection. Instead of an inbox full of emojis and acronyms, you check your likes and your video messages. Have an instant speed date when you like someone instead of passing messages back and forth for a week. How much simpler would it be to weed out the unserious and measure real intellectual compatibility? You can also easily screenshot inappropriate behavior and get predators banned for life. Our app has the power to change dating culture for the better and bring back the humanity and the respect to dating apps. We want to really get people talking again instead of just carelessly swiping away at people as if they were only pictures. Try our app today and help us restore the dignity back to dating online. I often have women tell me they don't have a problem finding no man or getting no date, but they also never have a man, right? They generally have trust issues. They've been played with or played before, and so now they're afraid of their own decisions. They're afraid of their own choices. They don't trust themselves. Okay, so this is the number one thing that you can look for, whether you're a woman with options or not. But specifically, if you're a woman with options looking through or considering multiple guys, right? You might be tempted to go with the most exciting man who keeps you on your toes. But generally, when a man keeps you on your toes, it's because he gives you anxiety. And he gives you anxiety because of his inconsistent behavior, right? That triggers you to feel. Inconsistency is usually the trigger that makes a woman say, "Oh, I like him. He's interesting. I thought about him more. I wonder about what he's doing more. I want him to call me more," because he's been inconsistent and you don't know what to expect from him, right? He's triggered that a PTSD response in you to seek that thing which you've not conquered yet, whether that would be a neglectful parent or some kind of person who in your childhood rejected you. You're still trying to conquer that same energy through these men who are being inconsistent. Right. So I would challenge you not to select the inconsistent man, not to select the most exciting man if you're dating three or four guys. Right. The most exciting man is almost never the guy that you want to date or the one that you try to make a life with because he doesn't most likely want the life. That's why he's so exciting. That's why he's so inconsistent because he doesn't want what you want. Right? A double minded man is unstable in all his ways. And if you date a double minded man, you'll be unstable before long. Okay? If you're dating three or four guys, one's exciting, one's fun, one's funny, and one's consistent, you want to date the consistent man. Unfortunately enough, as much as it might not be as exciting as other people, you need to date the man who's willing to show up when there's no reason to show up. Show up when there's no gratification to show up. Show up when there's no sex to be had. Show up when there's no entertainment to be watched. Show up to be bored with you. Show up to do nothing and sit around and just be around you. Right? You want a man who wants your presence, who wants your essence, who wants your femininity, not just your sex. That takes a man willing to show up without gratification. Okay. Too often, especially in the beginning of these relationships, we get into these things and these patterns where we always have to be doing something fun. We always are looking for a reason to be around each other because we're afraid to just need each other. We're afraid to just desire each other. We're afraid to just put ourselves out there and be vulnerable and say, I like you. I want to be around you. Can I just sit with you today? We're afraid of that. So we're always like, yo, I was thinking you want to go to the movies? Or you want to go to this restaurant? You want to go to this? You always got to do something. I know people like to get out of the house and everybody's not an introvert and some people are not homebodies. I get that. But the amount of pressure we put on ourselves to entertain the people we're around is wild ridiculous because that's not the day-to-day life of most adults. Most adults are going to work, coming home, decompressing, being bored at some point, and maybe getting a little bit of excitement out of the way. But this idea that you always have to be entertaining a person and they have to always be entertaining you, and that you're not willing to be bored with someone, or they're not willing to be bored, or they don't desire to be with you in the quiet, that's foolishness. You want a man who wants to be around you for no reason. Doesn't have to be on top of you, doesn't have to be inside of you, just wants to be around you. So when you see any pattern of behavior, when you see any willingness that makes it appear that a man's boring or a predictable or a homebody or just not exciting enough because he doesn't want to do the crazy date, he doesn't always have a great idea, he's not always planning things, do a double take. Make sure that you're not disqualifying a man for just wanting to be around you without the distraction. You want to be his muse. You want to be the attraction. You don't just want to be the person having a great time with him, who he's going to use to have a great time. You don't want to be his pastime. And a lot of women find themselves in relationships or situationships most of the time because they don't even get to relationships. But women find themselves in situationships where they are the pastime. A man is bouncing on them for fun. A man is kissing them for fun. A man is taking them out, showing them off, and then hitting it for fun. He's not actually looking for a relationship. It's great that men plan dates. It's great that people want to have a good time, but we place way too much energy and emphasis on having a good time and being entertained instead of getting to know one another. You don't get to know a person at a basketball game. You don't get to know a person at a comedy show outside of how much they laugh or what their sense of humor is like. You don't really get familiar with a person. You can't really grow closer to a person while distracted by a bunch of festivities a lot of times. You can enjoy the festivities. There's some familiarity being built. There's a rapport being built, but you learn a person in the quiet. You learn a person through conversation. You learn a person through their presence. And sometimes we're so distracted by the things we do trying to have the most exciting dates. And we're so distracted by the things we do to entertain ourselves with one another, generally sexual stuff, right? Digging into the physical, that we don't actually get to know the person and or we don't actually discover how they feel about us or give ourselves time to learn that before we decide we want them. So if you have a lot of options, if all the guys want you, great, congratulations. But if you keep on picking the most exciting man, you're going to keep on being a woman with options who never has a selection. Some good men are exciting, but they also want to be bored with you. They also can just sit with you. They don't need to be doing anything as long as they're doing it with you. That's the place you want to get to. That's the guy you want to choose. That's the guy you want to consider. He doesn't care what you're doing. I always get this complaint. He always say he don't care. He won't make a decision, or he always say whatever I want to do is fine. And they be mad. They be disgusted as hell that a man doesn't know which movie he wants to watch, or hasn't planned out where they're going to eat at, or doesn't have something fun and exciting and original planned out. They're like, oh my God, girl, he didn't even do nothing. Like, I get it. I understand where you're coming from. But a lot of that Hollywood romanticization of all of these unique dates and thoughtfulness and all of that, that's not realistic, and it's certainly not sustainable for most people. There are a lot of people who have exciting lives and a lot of people who are very spontaneous. So that's a personality type. That's not it can't be the prerequisite for every guy because it's a very rare personality type. Even extroverts don't want to always be doing something every day, all the time, especially when it costs money. If you're dating a guy and he doesn't really seem to care where you eat, he doesn't care which movie you watch, he doesn't care what you do, it's because he's there to be around you. You're the only girl in the world to him. We always hear about that. He treats me, I want to feel like the only woman in the world. Well, the one who doesn't give a damn what you're watching, what you're eating, and what you're doing, that's the one who's more than likely, if anybody's going to do it, treat you like the only woman in the world. So again, if you have options, it might sound like I'm saying pick the boring guy, and I'm not. But make sure that the prerequisite is he'll be bored with you. Not that he's boring, but that he'll be bored with you. I hope this helps. Anyway, that's all I got. Follow me at KevHick24 on Instagram. If you want a free copy of my Date Smarter Not Harder dating journal, the printable version, download my app today. Send me a screenshot of it on Instagram, and I'll send you the code to get the free journal.